All right, welcome everyone. My name is Cory, and today I'm sitting down with Joe Still of the Still Talking podcast. Joe, how are you today?
I'm not doing too bad. It's kind of weird. I'm on the other end of the stick here today.
I know you usually hosting, and today I'm going to take that over on you.
Yeah, well, hopefully you can keep up with me, Cory. I'm quite the talker.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. So today we wanted to sit down and talk about navigating transactions that can sometimes be difficult. I think Joe just finally, knock on wood, today closed on it. Everything went well. We're fully on record. But I think every step of the way, this challenge fought you. And what I want to highlight and point out is you did what another broker couldn't, because another broker had this listing, could not sell it. And ultimately, in my opinion, you did what a lot of agents couldn't, and fight through a difficult transaction where roadblock after roadblock came up, and you didn't take no for an answer, you didn't give up, and you pushed it forward. So why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the hurdles that you came up with in this transaction first and foremost?
Well, thank you for that amazing, kind of review there, Cory. And this one was difficult in its own, but I mean, this is why I do real estate. I really like to navigate through the difficult things, and especially with this one being, previously with another brokerage, it goes to highlight what Revolv can do as well. I'd like to just say that. I mean, the resources we had were abundant for me to even be able to negotiate a lot of this stuff.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, and I mean, it really goes and shows you that, like with the right team, you can get the job done right. 100%. And not a lot of agents could have done what we done on this one. Sold on original offer, $15,000 above that. We negotiated septic tanks, we negotiated boilers. Everything that went wrong with this went wrong. And we came out on top and saved a lot of money in the process.
So I think let's circle back. Right from the initial offer, we were able to negotiate them to come up another $15,000.
Yes.
Now, I think that is so important, where all agents get excited. Oh, I got an offer. I'm so scared to lose the offer. I don't want to ask them for more. I don't want to push them for more. And now in this one, thank God we pushed, because that freed up a lot more money for some of the hiccups and hurdles we were going to face towards the end. So how did you feel early on once you got the initial offer, and then negotiating for your seller to put some more money in their pocket?
Well, I like that kind of question there, and really just staying calm was the main thing. When I had that offer initially sent in, you don't know what the house is worth. I mean, considering that, you throw it on for what the numbers for, you're trying to get your client the best possible number. And this one just had all the stink to it. There was a squatter in that property. Nothing was done just yet. It had been sitting vacant for a while. So staying really calm, actually, and, fighting for what you knew the house was worth, I mean, yielded us a better purchase price. But, I mean, it also got her, my client here, to be able to walk away with more money at the closing table just because I sold them on the original offer. Really, it was just a phone call. Once you have those conversations, I mean, it's either a yes or no, and you can figure it out from there. And that's something that was.
So what you're saying is you negotiated.
Negotiations is simply just talking to people, having a conversation, and doing your best to stay leveraged the entire time, and always making sure you have the
upper hand.
The upper hand, really.
And I think when you have a listing, you have all the leverage. And I think everyone's always afraid the buyer's going to walk if I push him too hard. If the buyer walks away, they didn't want the property to begin with. If they're in love with this property, all you're asking is, hey, this is the price it's going to take. Is it worth it to you? Yes or no? We're not forcing anyone's hand. We're just simply asking a question. And by you asking the right questions in the right way, you were able to get your seller another $15,000. So kudos to you on that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think the other issue we ran into here was a failed septic system. So explain what happened there once the septic system failed, and then your process for gathering quotes.
Yeah. So, I mean, just first note that, like, every deal is different, right? You're never going to go into something knowing absolutely everything. Or if you are, you're extremely lucky. And in this case, we thought the system was fine. And then when you come and do your stuff before you go and get offers accepted, that's when we come to find out that, it's going to need a new Title V. And now with this, a new septic system, those who don't know Title V is the test that goes through with that stuff. Really, if it's a cesspool, it's more often than failing. But in this case, it was a previous system, was put in the 80s. You can have all the questions you want, but you won't know until you get that inspection. And that 100%. Was something that, you have to be able to, get on paper. And we did our best to get the best possible quote on this. And
what was the range in quotes?
So your average 4-bed system, and those for watching that know a little bit more about real estate than others, I mean, systems right now are getting put in minimums between 25 and 45. This new nitrogen upgraded systems, they're just required now in Massachusetts, and even more so in the area we were dealing with. For this one specifically, I mean, we got this marked so far below the average.
Well, I think that was in your quote gathering process where some quotes were going as high as 35, and then you guys ended up doing it for 22. So I think that's the important too, is agents, when you're gathering quotes for your clients, don't just take the first quote at face value. Gather 4 or 5 quotes. I think at the end of this, you probably almost had 5 quotes.
Yeah.
And you never know if someone needs a job or they need to keep their crew busy or whatever it is. You don't know if the first quote is good or bad because you don't have anything to substantiate that and base it off of. So when gathering quotes for anything, get multiple quotes. And I think that's something that you expertly did here for your seller, and ultimately saved her a ton of money because you had someone that would do it at a very reasonable price for her.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone has different overhead end of the day, but I mean, it's your job to make sure your client walks away happy.
Yeah.
And I was more than able to come in and do all of this on her behalf because, you know, there comes a level of knowledge about it and confidence. And I was confident we can get her a better price. And that's something we did. And she ended up walking away with more than she actually would have.
Than if you just took the first quote at face value.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good. Yeah. So now I think another horror story that unfortunately happened here is I want to talk about the heating system. So let's talk about the phone call you got. So set it in perspective. There was a heating system issue that came up. I'll set the scene.
Okay.
There's a heating system issue that came up during home inspection. Ultimately, this seller decided to repair what was probably a quite old system that was on the last leg already, but thought we could save some money and put some repairs in. Now we are a week before closing. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Probably less than that.
Again,
but
after dealing with the septic issue, getting all the quotes, getting the contractors out there that'll do it in a timely manner to not delay any closing, we then get a phone call, or Joe then gets a phone call, and what's that phone call say?
Well, to set more of a scene, it's
Sure.
it's probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night almost.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going home. I after a long day at the office, making calls and doing all the stuff that just you wouldn't have to think about when this call comes up. But phone call gets a ring. It's, hey, there's 6 inches of water in the basement.
Oh boy.
And you get that call and you say, well, what do you mean there's 6 inches of water in the basement? Quite literally 6 inches of water in the basement. The whole boiler blew.
Yeah.
And it's good to note, too, is having the right attitude when something like that comes along. Didn't get scared, didn't get nervous, obviously concerned, assess the situation, and then go from there.
You jumped right in, and I actually think you got your hands dirty in this one.
I did. I was out there, and we have Suit Up Mondays now that we've just like established. You know, you got to look good every Monday.
Start the week off right.
And I started that week off right by a boiler blowing, but I was wearing a suit, so I had my superpowers on that day.
Okay.
And I rolled up the dress pants, got a little dirty in that basement, and
got a sub pump, pumped the water out, made sure everything was good.
And I mean, look, we still closed, so it just goes to show you, you know, you need somebody who's just gonna get their hands.
I think what you also did was, again, you found a plumber to come in, put a new heating system in, finish the septic system, all before the anticipated closing date. I think what'd you have to push it out, like a week or so?
Not even that much. Not even a couple
few days, right?
A couple days. And
after battling all of that, you only push it out a few days, and at the end of the day, the buyers are happy, your seller's happy.
Yeah, and I mean, I
bet you feel like you went through war though.
No, and you know what? Anyone watching too. I mean, these things happen. That's what I tell everyone. These things happen. You can't. You just can't freak out about it.
This one was a little bit more, I would say. Even in my career, you were thrown a lot.
It was, but keeping a solid, stiff mind and confident about your abilities, I think, was something that got us through this.
Can't cry over spilt milk. And really, I think once an issue happens, I get it. It's gonna suck. It becomes harder. It's another hurdle. But that's what we're here for. We are here to be solution-oriented. We are here for our clients. We are here to do our jobs. And part of our jobs is making sure this goes smooth. So again, every hurdle that was thrown at you, you had a solution, you had the right resources, you jumped right in, and at the end of the day, your seller is so happy. What was an incredibly stressful transaction, again, you made it as least stressful as possible.
Yeah. And I went above and beyond every chance
Absolutely.
I could, and because
And
that's
you do
because
that for
that's
all
what
of
you're
your
paid
clients.
for at the end of the day.
That's what
really
we're
what
here
you're paid for. And anyone watching too, if anyone's potentially looking buying or selling, I'm here for it. I'm jumping over hurdles in deals that most people wouldn't in this case. Most people
it's not
don't
even
even
that they
have
wouldn't.
the ability.
They don't know how to. They don't know what to do when something like this happens. They go into pure panic mode.
Which also highlights Revolv. Like, I got to give it to you guys. I mean, this team that you have, the back end support on with a company like this is just phenomenal.
We spoke a lot during this one.
We did. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, shoot, when that boiler went off, I mean, I didn't go to sleep, So
I get it.
So the resources are important to have, and that's something I would like to highlight.
I think you have a ton of resources through all of your contractor connections, whether it's electrical, plumbing, all of the new ones that you've made during this transaction as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So
this was hard, but we got through it.
You did it. Again, kudos to you. Congratulations. We wanted to jump in real time. This just finished this morning. Get all the emotions of it, and also congratulate you on a job well done.
Well, thank you, sir. I really do appreciate that. Really
Sounds good.
Really good.
Again, I'm Cory DaSilva. This is Joe Still. If you have any home buying, selling needs, use this man because he has a ton of resources for you.
Give me a shout, 508-525-5901.
Thank you all.